and warm welcome to everyone. Have you ever wondered why light always wins? Good always triumphs bad? The victory of light over darkness, good over evil, collective good over individual selfishness are the timeless themes that recur in our stories, philosophies, and religions. These universal themes are celebrated as festivals in different parts of the world. Any festival that is celebrated in any part of the world, in any religion, has two important components: celebration and introspection. Celebration refers to the rituals that are performed, and introspection refers to the spiritual significance behind those rituals that reiterate the timeless themes in their own unique way. One such festival that is celebrated by millions all over the world with a lot of fervor is the Indian festival of Shivratri, which is also called as Shiv Jayanti. Like any other festival, Shivratri too has certain rituals and themes, the key ones being staying awake all night, the theme of victory of light over darkness, day-long fast that ends with fruit feast, chanting devotional hymns, visiting temples, singing praise of God, etc. The aim of these traditions and rituals is to remind us that however dark times may be, darkness can never last forever, and the darkest hour is just before the dawn. Shivratri is a celebration of reviving this hope and faith. Following rituals is one thing, and understanding their meanings another. And a truly knowledgeable person is the one who can understand, appreciate, and put those spiritual aspects into daily practice. Today, we'll hear from experienced meditators from different backgrounds to walk us through the spiritual significance of certain rituals that are shared between different faiths around the world. Let me welcome Sister Hana Waena, who has a Jewish background. She is an education professional and a doctoral candidate of learning sciences. She has worked in various creative arts, including as singer, songwriter, actress, and Latin dance teacher. She is the founder of social change podcast, Artists of Change. Hana has been a practicing meditator since 2003, and she has also maintained the elements of her Jewish culture and practice, which have become increasingly rich and meaningful through her deepening spiritual understanding of life. She will throw light upon the custom of staying up all night, a practice that is shared between Shivratri and the Jewish festival Shavout.
Om Shanti and happy Shivratri, everyone. I'm actually very inspired by this ritual of staying up and staying awake through the middle of the night or throughout the whole night. It has two connections that I thought of to Judaism. The first was actually the festival of Shavout, where people literally stay awake throughout the entire night and they study Torah. But the other one that came to mind, and perhaps is a little bit richer to my understanding, is literally the first few lines of Torah. Now, Torah is known as the Jewish Bible, so it's the Old Testament in the Christian faith. And within Torah, the very first words, Bereshit bara Elohim et hashamayim ve'et haaretz, in the beginning God created heaven and earth. And from there it continues, in the beginning there was darkness, and God said, let there be light. And God separated the light from the dark and called the darkness night and the light day. And so there was evening and there was morning, a first day. And what I find so beautiful about this little section of Torah is that it describes the very process of creation to us. That creation starts in dark times. The creation starts arguably now in our world. It's not the moment of inspiration when it starts. It's actually in the times of confusion, of chaos, of unknown and not knowing when or how things are going to happen. But then what happens? God says, let there be light. Let there be insight. Let there be lightness of heart. And in that addition of attention being brought to what is light, there's this separation, this discernment that happens between what is light and what is not, what is heavy and dark. And Judaism is actually full of a lot of practices that really differentiate between what is holy and what is mundane. It's really beautiful like that, because it's only by drawing our attention to the contrast can we then choose. It's only in a darkened moment, if we give our attention to what is light in that dark moment, if we look for it or find it, that we can then choose something that is loving and generous and giving, compared to something that is, say, lustful and taking and needing and requiring or demanding of others. And so what's, I think, really beautiful about this ritual then of staying awake through the night is it's actually about staying alert to my own heart and the state of my mind. And when I uncouple that meaning from the ritual, I can take that meaning into my daily life and my daily practice, and I can look for opportunities where I can be more discerning, where I can, if things feel a little bit messy or sticky or I'm not quite sure how to deal with it, I can know that it's an opportunity to find the light again and again and again in the moments of my day. And so in the same way that the Torah describes this process of creation as one of moving from the darkness into the light, that then creates a day, an experience of time, of night into day. I can take that same metaphor and that same process and apply it in my life as to how I might turn darker moments into lighter moments and create time itself. Or at the very least, choose the experience of time that I wish to create by choosing love from discernment in moments of darkness, again and again and again. So this Shivratri, I really hope everyone has a chance to reflect and experience this and take this idea of staying awake and alert and developing insight as a foundation for creating the world anew. Happy Shivratri and Om Shanti. A lot of love to everyone.
Wow, thank you, Sister Hana, for explaining such deep meaning in a very simple way. Turn dark moments into light moments of the day over and over again by choosing love. Next, let's examine the theme of changing darkness into light with our next speaker, Brother Peter Clark, who hails from a Christian background. He is an accomplished songwriter, musician, as well as a respected tutor. Peter's commitment to greater good allows space and freedom for others to grow. His values include dignity of spirit, authenticity, and appreciation. Peter divides his time between coordinating Brahma Kumaris Center's activities and working part-time in Brisbane, Australia. He has been practicing meditation for over 35 years. Let's see what secrets he's going to share with us today.
Let there be light. These were said to have been the words that God spoke, and that was depicted in the book of Genesis, which was the Hebrew Bible and the Old Testament for Christianity. So this idea of light was always a very inspiring thing for me as a child, and I grew up in Christianity, and I was quite grateful that I had a notion of God somewhere out there. I cannot tell you honestly whether I had that idea of God being out there somewhere instilled within me, or whether it was a natural thing that I had within me from my past life. But it was there. It was a very strong thing. And the idea that that God's light came from above was a very powerful idea. And I always remember on days when there'd been big storms and the clouds would part a little and light would come down from above like rays through the clouds. It was always such an inspiring thing, so awe-inspiring to see that sort of thing you want to photograph every time it happens. And of course in Christianity there was a very strong notion of light being above and darkness being below. So especially in the days of the flat earth belief, of course they thought of heaven as being up there above the clouds where all the light was, and hell being down below the ground where it was very, very dark. And of course there was fire down there, but that was a scary thing. So this idea of light and dark, of heaven and hell, and us of course being in the middle on earth, and somehow we would have to make a choice as to whether we go towards the light or towards the darkness. So it's a very strong idea. But I also remember from my past seeing images of, and this is an amazing thing, but St. Peter's Basilica in Rome was a really good example of this. But I think in a lot of churches and cathedrals, it's going to depict light, especially coming in through stained glass windows and the like, as in very powerful ways. And so in St. Peter's in Rome, it has this like a circular thing with a point at the top, and it's like the light is coming down from above, you know. And I remember a very similar sort of an image in, of all places, the War Memorial in Canberra. And of course it was depicting the idea of, well, it was showing the saints and the angels and so on, all sort of heading upwards into this dome towards the top, towards the light. And at the top there was a round image with a point in the middle and the light coming through. And of course this is depicting the idea of going towards light after death. I also do recall the story of after Jesus' death, the apostles, his followers, were all huddled around together, wondering what to do next, feeling quite frightened. And at that point, how they term it, the Holy Spirit descends upon them. And so that's always depicted as being tongues of fire above their heads. And at that point, they all become enthusiastic to go and spread the word, which is their mission on earth. And so again, it was that idea of being enlightened by what they called the Holy Spirit, which is of course another way of saying the Supreme Soul. So that was a very inspiring thing. And I was so grateful actually for all of these inspirations from my childhood and growing up years. And I did really take a lot of that, and I really put my heart and soul into that way of life in whichever way I could at that time. And I think when I came to Baba, when I first visited a Raja Yoga Centre, a lot of that gelled for me, and it really came home for me. Om Shanti.
Walking away from darkness towards the light, just like the angels we see in images. Here, it is not a literal physical walk, but an internal walk of thoughts, from heaviness to lightness, from fear and anxiety to peace, from anger to calm, from hatred to love. Our next speaker is from India, from Hindu background. Her name is Sister Yogini. She is the director of Brahma Kumaris Raj Yoga centers in Mumbai. She has been a part of various national and international programs, and she conducts spiritual discourses on various practical, value-based and empowering topics. She is the national coordinator of the Business and Industry Wing of Brahma Kumaris in India. She has been a meditator and also meditation teacher for over 40 years. Let us understand from Sister Yogini the spiritual significance behind the rituals of night-long chanting, singing hymns, and also the right method to experience God's love.
Shivratri is one of the most important festival that we celebrate in India. It is the birthday of the Supreme Father Shiva. It is said to be the Ratri because he comes at a time when the whole world is in the darkness of ignorance, and he comes to give us the light of knowledge. That is why it is called Shivratri. Also, devotees sing a lot of devotional songs, chant and pray on that day. The purpose of this is to remind oneself of his praise, which gives them hope. It is especially done in a gathering to fill oneself with the fervor of enthusiasm. This creates an environment of love for God. Although on that day the whole night is spent praying and chanting, it is important to forge a relationship with God all through our lives instead of just one day. To connect to Him, one has to know who He truly is and how He fills us with powers to make our lives easy, elevated, and successful. The festival of Shivratri also reminds us that we, the children of God, are originally just like Him, being of love, peace, happiness, etc. So in every action that we perform, we need to have this awareness that we are peaceful souls. It will automatically spread peace around to have this awareness that we are peaceful being whilst performing actions becomes our religion, dharma. It is very important to understand that religion is not what we are born into, but the religion that we live by. This is why the soul's original religion is that of peace, and God is the ocean of peace, and we come from the land of peace. Om Shanti.
So beautifully explained, Yogini Didi. We chant hymns to remind ourselves of God, and that fills us with hope, enthusiasm, and love. And Shivratri means night of Shiva. where the night represents the night of ignorance and God comes to give us light, which means the light of knowledge. Fasting is one of the key traditions followed by devotees during the celebration of Shivratri, and it is also an important practice in Islamic faith. So, our next speaker, Brother Arif Dawood, is an electrical and electronic engineer. He has lived and worked in Abu Dhabi for the past 28 years. Originally from Dar es Salaam in Tanzania, he has been practicing meditation for over 20 years, and for the past 12 years he has been practicing meditation at the Inner Space Center in Abu Dhabi. He is a deep seeker of knowledge. He has always enjoyed thinking out of the box while maintaining his own meditation practice on a regular basis. Brother Arif is from an Islamic background, and he is going to share with us the connection between fasting and prayers, and also the spiritual significance behind fasting and how it brings us closer to God.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Greeting of peace to everyone. In this matter of the different pillars of Islam, the two main ones are prayers and fasting. And they are very much interconnected because they support one another. When it comes to fasting, the fasting that has been prescribed to other people before being described to Muslims, and it is something that Islam has continued, and it's quite universal with all different religions of the world having some form of fasting. In Islam, the unique fasting is that it's a total dry fast for a period of time. And what my experience has been is that during the time of fasting, there are a lot of things that are kept away. You kept away from. There is a lot of things that are not bothering you anymore. You do not have to worry about all those preparation that you have to do, and so that you can focus and develop awareness of yourself and be able to focus more on your prayers. And so the idea of fasting is so that this awareness can be awakened, so and then you realize that you can see things that you haven't been noticing before. So this is an opportunity to create that moment whereby you can deepen your experience of your prayer. And not only that, but during this time of fasting, there is all other form of worships are being intensified, and therefore we kind of see, especially during the last 10 days of the month of Ramadan, there is a special prayers, there are special rituals that take place during this period, and therefore this helps our relationship with God. It brings us closer to God, and we start developing a different kind of relationship, more aware, awake relation with God. Apart from that, there are other practical aspects, like, for example, fasting helps us in the sense that it develops the willpower. It creates equality because everyone has to fast, whoever it is, it's the same rule. You might be, somebody who can afford a lot of things. You also need to fast, and you might be somebody who can't, and still fasting is the same. You might be, older or younger, and of course with some exceptions, but generally Muslims have to fast. And unity, because that's a time where everyone is kind of coming together, and it's a very special moment, and the atmosphere is very much for your spiritual growth. One thing that is very interesting when we look at this fasting and look at other tradition, there is a special night in one of these days of the fasting. It is called the Grand Night, the night of grandeur, the night of power, the night where the destiny of the person or destiny of mankind is being written. And this is the night of Laylatul Qadr. And it's very interesting to note that the Shivratri also refers to a night. Like we know that the word Ratri means night, and the word Layl also means night. And therefore, there is this special attention in this special night of something happening, some awakening happening, something being formed. And for this, in order for us to prepare for this, fasting becomes part of that process.
It's so interesting to see that fasting can bring you closer to God, and it enables one to focus more on prayers. It is a time for self-realization, God realization, to notice what went unnoticed before. Now, our next speaker will walk us through the practical implications of Shivratri and these rituals in our day-to-day life. Her name is Sister Shivani. She is an internationally acclaimed self-development speaker and a Raj Yoga meditation teacher. She is one of the prime speakers on Awakening TV channel. She has demystified the understanding and practice of spirituality in daily life of millions of people all over the world. She is a gold medalist in electronics engineering from Pune University, India. Since 2017, she has been a Goodwill Ambassador of World Psychiatric Association. And the Government of India has recognized her contributions to the society through Nari Shakti Award in 2019. Let's hear from her.
Om Shanti and greetings of peace from Bharat, India, the country where Shiv Jayanti is being celebrated now with a lot of love, reverence and devotion. Shiv Jayanti is not just a festival. It reveals to us the secrets of time. It gives us the message of what is the need of the current time. What is the call of time? Shiv Jayanti is also called as Shivratri, where the word Ratri means night. Night, which is the time right now in terms of the vibrations of the planet. Like every 24 hours, we go through a morning, afternoon, evening and night. And then it's a pitch darkness. But when it is pitch dark, it also means the dawn is near. At that time, the most of the people are sleeping, but it is also the time when some of them are waking up. This is that time. where many are sleeping, ignorant of what is our role. What does time demand from us today? What is the shift we have to create within us in order to heal the world, the planet, in order to create a paradigm shift, which is the need of the hour? Many are sleeping, ignorant, but some of us are waking up. It's the time of awakening, awakening to a new way of thinking, a new way of living, a new way of working, a new way of being, because it's only when there is an awakening here, it's only when there is a shift here, can we create a shift in the world. Everyone desires a new world. Everyone is waiting for that morning, but it will not happen just by waiting. We have to do something to invoke that morning. The morning is the collective high vibrational energy of the planet. And the night, which is the current time, is where the collective vibration of the planet goes low. A vibration of fear, anxiety, pain, anger, hatred, hurt, resentment, competition, jealousy, complaining, criticism. These are low vibrational energies. And when soul power goes to that low vibrational energy, everything in the world reflects that low vibration. We can see it in every aspect of our life, whether it's our mental health, physical health, relationships, environment, climate. Everything is getting affected by these low vibrations. And if we want to create that beautiful new world where everyone is emotionally strong, physically perfect, where the environment is beautiful and cooperates with us, then the shift is needed here. So it's time for the awakening. And that is why during Shivratri, we stay awake the whole night, because we invoke the dawn, we invoke the morning. So let's create that personal awakening today. Let's not wait for the world to change. Sometimes we think, what will me alone be able to do for the world? But it's actually the power of one, because each one of us is going to contribute to create a shift in that collective vibration of the planet. We need to create that sanskar here, the sanskar of the new age, the sanskar of the new world, the sanskar of the golden age, the sanskar, the nature, the personality of heaven, paradise, the world that we're all looking for. We need to start it here. That world needs to be created here so that we can then create that world on the planet. And Shiv Jayanti reminds us our role, our responsibility, and our power to be able to create that new world. So, awakening. And the second thing that we do during Shiv Jayanti is fasting. Fasting, not just of what we eat, but fasting of our old ways of thinking, our old emotional patterns, our old behaviors, those which were depleting the soul power. So, fasting from the old patterns and awakening to the new way of thinking. But all this becomes very, very simple when we connect to the highest power. By ourselves, we might not be able to do it. Even when we try, we get influenced by the vibration around us and we get pulled down. We alone might not be able to do it. But when we are connected to that highest power, this supreme power, this is the time when only that connection, that power can create that shift in the world, because we are seeing that all the other powers, every power on the planet, has a very pure intention, is making all the efforts, but still not getting the result. And so this is the time. There is only one power that can create that shift, and that power is the soul power connecting with the supreme power. So Shiv Jayanti is about our personal, pure, deep connection with the Supreme Power, absorbing God's powers into our life and using that power to create that personal awakening to a shift in our vibrations. And that shift in our vibration, in our sanskars, will create a shift in the world. So Shiv Jayanti is not just about one day, it's about way of living. So this Shiv Jayanti, as we celebrate, as we pray, as we promise and as we pledge to give up those weaknesses, those impure habits, those negative emotional patterns which are depleting us, also let's invoke those pure, original, high vibrational sanskars, our nature, by connecting to the Supreme. And together, the dawn is very near. It's not about when will it happen. It's about, am I ready for it? And what am I ready to do for it? So let's create the shift within, and the result outside is going to happen very, very soon. Let's not wait for the new world. Let's create that beautiful new world. A world where peace is the religion. A world where love is the language. Truth is in action. Happiness is a way of living. That is a world which together we're all going to create. Om Shanti.
Thank you, Sister Shivani. Shivratri or Shiv Jayanti is indeed a time where we awaken our inner light, a time to bring about inner transformation that the time is now demanding of us, so that instead of waiting for a world that is filled with peace, love, and happiness, we create it ourselves now. And now we'll end this program with a deep and meaningful song by Brother Harish Moyal from India. Brother Harish is a renowned Bollywood singer, having performed on various TV and radio shows as well as singing playback songs for movies. He has performed more than 3,000 live shows all over the world and debuted his band Shukran in 2015, with whom he has performed more than 100 shows, including Bollywood Music Project and Worli Festival. With his deep passion for music and a soulful voice, today Brother Harish Moyal stands out as one of the most talented singers in the Indian music industry. The name of the song is Hum to Sada Mehfoos Hue Hai, which means we are eternally protected by being in your remembrance, God's remembrance. It is a song that expresses the gratitude and the warmth of having God as one's companion.
Namaste, Om Shanti. My name is Harish Moyal, and on this auspicious occasion of Shivratri, I would like to wish all my brothers and sisters in Australia and the world. It's a time to remember how God's light brings light into the dark times and creates a world of love and peace for all. हम तो सदा महफूज हुए हैं दाता तेरी याद में, बिन मांगे सब कुछ है पाया, क्या मांगू फरियाद में। हम तो सदा महफूज हुए हैं दाता तेरी याद में, बिन मांगे सब कुछ है पाया, क्या मांगू फरियाद में।
तू ही समझता दिल को हमारे, करता मेरी हिफाजत है। तुझ पर ही तो हक है सारे, तू ही मेरी ताकत है। तू ही समझता दिल को हमारे, करता मेरी हिफाजत है। तुझ पर ही तो हक है सारे, तू ही मेरी ताकत है। तू ही सबसे पहले दिल में, बाकी सब है बाद में। हम तो सदा महफूज हुए हैं भगवन तेरी याद में। तू ही सबसे पहले दिल में, बाकी सब है बाद में। हम तो सदा महफूज हुए हैं भगवन तेरी याद में। दिल जो गाता तू वो गजल है, तू ही भरता मुझ में बल है। तुझसे मुकम्मल मेरी सांसें, तू ही जीवन सबका तराशे। दिल जो गाता तू वो गजल है, तू ही भरता मुझ में बल है। तुझसे मुकम्मल मेरी सांसें, तू ही जीवन सबका तराशे। तुमने दी है हर एक खूबी मुझको आशीर्वाद में। हम तो सदा महफूज हुए हैं साहिब तेरी याद में। तुमने दी है हर एक खूबी मुझको आशीर्वाद में। हम तो सदा महफूज हुए हैं ईश्वर तेरी याद में। मौला तेरी याद में, या रब तेरी याद में, दाता तेरी याद में।